Good morning everyone. Technically it's the next morning and I will continue. I hope you're all well and welcome back. I'll continue on this side of the ship. We're going to fit the anchors and a couple more rails. We have a couple of those rails on. We have a couple of, looks like mushroom vents to go on up the front here. We've got to fit another piece in the middle over here. So what I'll do, I'll just wick that out, that's it. Yeah, it's touch glue now. Yeah, that's it. That's got glue in it, so that's quite alright. It's probably protruding from the ship just a little bit, but that's okay. It looks good. Well, that now looks like this entire page is now finished. So the next page, we're going to turn the ship around and finish off the rear end, or the aft. I'm certainly glad I decided to put these on after I put the floor and glued it down, because I was considering putting these on beforehand, but yeah, it's not a good idea. It does appear we have one of our first guns on the back here, so I'll get one of those out now and fit it. Well, there it is there. It's not the best of fit, but there's two of those, so I'll fit them. So there's those two rear guns and a bit of a close-up. I've got the rear flag pole to add as well, but I'm going to add that last because I've knocked the mast, I don't know, about 4 times now, and that being on the end of the ship, it's probably not going to last. So there's another big capstan to go on the rear, just over here. I'll add that. I'll do some of this stuff on the camera. Kind of need a good steady hand. Gotcha. Took a little bit of forcing there, but we certainly got it in. Okay. Wasn't happy to leave that one sticking out. Some of the others I did, well actually one of them up the other end I did, but that looks okay. So right now I'm kind of working my way down the ship this way, and we're adding absolutely everything that needs to go in here. There are a couple of things on the outside that need to go on, so I'll add them too. Adding all these last little pieces, just a little bit nerve-wracking, and you just got to fiddle with them just a little bit just to get them in the right spot. There. I do believe there's a mistake here. So the ladder, the holes for the ladder kind of shoot the ladder this way, which is next to it, and ideally it needs to be that way, so the holes are slightly wrong. So it's not a really good fit. So I put the ladder down there. I tried to twist the base a little bit, but I don't think that's going to work. So yeah, the ladder naturally wants to go this way, but that's wrong. Well, it's kind of on. I mean, you're zoomed all the way in, because how you would naturally see that would probably be more. So I suppose it looks okay. I just put a tiny dab of extra thin on the very top of the stairs, and looks like it's holding it pretty good, so we'll just leave that there. Tiny little vent here just to fit, and I've just glued it, just trying to nudge it in just a little more. Yeah, that's pretty good now. Staircase is in. Go back to normal view. So I've got all these vents down here. They're all going to be fitted up on the structure right about here. To fit those, I'm just going to dab the bases in glue. Pretty much give them a drop in the glue and try and fit this. So I just got to turn the ship just a little bit. I'm not saying it's going to work, but that goes on there. just like that. We'll do the next one. 2 fitted. Pretty important to get those straight. They look a little crooked, they're going to not look very good, so I'm going to get the first 2 dead right. Yeah, pretty happy with that. So those 5 vents are on, 4 to the right, 1 to the left. We've got to fit these on the rear of the ship. Because of how fragile they are, I'm going to leave them to last as well. There's another 2 vents on this side over here. I'll just make a quick little adjustment. How's that look? That doesn't look quite right, does it? Sure you'll agree. There we go. I just fitted this little reel here. Just again, it daubed a bit of glue on it. Hopefully it should be enough. So I'm going to fit the ladder on this side. Okay, the ladder's now in. We're going to fit another gun here. The gun is now fitted. The dipping your part into the glue probably works best here. I have tried dipping it in there. Yeah, just put some on a bit of paper or a lid or something and just dip your part in it and put it straight on is the best way. In that camera view, I've just picked up that flue looks a little wrong too, so I'll just quickly readjust that. So we've got to fit a couple more parts just in here. We'll fit those. Okay, so they're now on. What else is up here? I think the anchor at the end of the ship here. We do need another anchor. Well, there it is on the end of the ship. Quite fiddly to put that one on. I am pretty happy with the contrast with the black on here. It just sort of makes them sort of stand out a little bit because they are quite small, but it does set it off as a different contrasting colour. So there's another tie down point added on. I think that's all of them now on the outside of the ship. I just finished fitting 4 locker boxes here, or ammunition boxes, up there with the anti-aircraft gunner. That's a little better. It's probably taken me 40 minutes to fit these ammunition boxes and locker boxes on either side, and they were difficult. I've just taken another one of these off the sprue kit. I'm short on one here, so I'm taking that off. I'm going to paint it. I've also done the flashlights on either side on the flue. The locker boxes are down there all fitted. So one by one I am grabbing all the bits and pieces. I do think there are some stuff that does need to come off the sprues and painted, and I'll let you know as they happen. So I need a couple of pieces here to go with the radars at the back. So I'll put that with the other stuff to get painted. The other thing I did, you might have already noticed it, I had a light one and a dark one here, and I've swapped them over because this makes more sense to me. So this is the light side and the other side is the dark side, so I swapped them over and it looks better. We have another gun to fit up in here, and those pieces I just took off, they are for in here, they're going to be painted. So I'll fit the gun now. I'll continue on what I have been doing this whole time. It looks like it's blocked, hang on. I'll grab my gun and get it set up the right way. I think I'll face me. Dab it in. Fill the base up with glue. And then 2 hands fit it on. Got it. It's definitely a gun in there. I am noticing it's all these tiny little pieces that are making a big difference. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 added on this side, and I'll repeat the same on the other side. There's another 1, 2, 3 more guns added on this side. They were painted in that silver colour that I showed you, and yeah, they look rather nice. That's the colour they were painted in, and they look good. So I've got to continue with this one by painting a couple of pieces, so I can't do any more here at the moment, and I'll move on to the other structure and I'll see what I need there. Okay, I just took 22 pieces off the sprues, cleaned them all up, and I've got some black ones there as well. Good morning everyone, welcome back. It is the next morning. I have been busy painting already this morning. I've painted these few sections here. We're just going to continue on from, continue the video on from yesterday. These tiny little radars, they got a couple of tabs here and they have to fit on pieces that go just like this, which there is no tab holes or anything. I'm actually thinking I might just glue these ones down first and then just glue these ones down on top, because I think there's going to be no way to pushing this down once these are on. So I'm going to do that now. So I'll just prepare them and get them ready. So there they are in the ship. To fit these tiny little radars, I'm just going to prepare some super glue, and the little tabs, I'm just going to dip it in there and then try and hold it on. So that's the plan for those. I kid you not when I say gravity has played a part in fitting those. They just kept wanting to drop forward. So in the end, the only action was to tilt the ship so gravity can work with me and not against me. In the end, I found this to be the best way to put these on, which is basically just roll them on their side, glue them up, and just let gravity work with you and just try and get them as straight as you can, so that when you do put them on, they're pretty straight. I've had a hell of a time fitting the other ones. So that's a bit of a tip, I suppose. So right now, because those pieces are so fragile, like I almost can't even breathe on it, I need to let them go off, and I'm probably going to give them another dab of glue just to make sure, because they are super fragile. So what I'm going to do now is, there are a few other bits and pieces going to go on the ship, but they're so tiny that it doesn't really matter. One thing I haven't paid enough attention to at the moment is the main guns. So I think I'm going to do that right now. So there's my cannons in the placement of the ship. And I'll be honest with you, I actually thought they were finished and all they needed was a coat of varnish. And I would put the varnish on any ship that you're doing. It just seems to protect it and just brings it out another level, because there it is there, unvarnished, and there's the ship varnished. So yeah, there's a vast comparable to each one. So and the other thing I want to mention is, I thought these were finished because that was it, but I looked a little further and these guns now need something on top of them, which I'm going to look at now. So there's a whole bunch of parts that's just cut off the sprue. Yes, I did not realise all these pieces need to go on. I did not look far enough ahead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean all these up, and there's a few more guns. And remember these that we didn't know what they were really for? These are for these guns. So here I have all the tiny guns that are made to go on top of the torrents, all cleaned up and ready to go. And next to it, I have all the other pieces as well. The other thing we need to do is take these off, because they need to go on the bottom as well. So I'll take them off. So the point of it is just I can go crunch just like that. Let's go the other way. So that's the photo which officially finished. I thought I would show you just in case you want to know how I put these on. So pretty much just put a blob on there like that. I got this piece and just straight on and then fitted it around to where I need it to be, and then off. So it turns out I have to drill 2 holes in each one of these turrets that are on the higher part of the ship. So I'll come back and drill some, I'll drill some holes in them and I'll come back. Sorry about that. So now I have all the holes in the tops as well. So what I'll do is I'll quickly go off and undercoat all these parts, and get them all ready for paint. I think what we're going to do is I'm just going to go with the basic, the stronger grey, which is a darker one out of most of them. I've also taken the props off and cleaned them up. You know we're getting close to the end when we start talking about props. So here they all are ready to be undercoated. There's the first dust coat. There's the next coat on there of the undercoat. There's the next coat of undercoat. I will turn stuff over and prepare for the other side. They've been turned around. We'll get these ones undercoated. First coat. That's the undercoating all done on these. I'll bring the other pieces back and we'll put some colour on them. So there it is, ready, set up for its first coat of paint, of colour. Kind of a mix of a dust coat, first coat. There's the colour on there. I'm going to wait for that to dry, and because everything else is now varnished with the matte, they have to be varnished too. So I'll get that ready. They're all ready to be varnished. I'll get on to that. First light dust coat of varnish. I'll come back when it's dry. Well, there they are with a coat of varnish. We'll just let them dry off for quite a while and I'll come back. Well, that hasn't gone too well. I painted all these before and all these bits and pieces, and I also varnished them. I did not really shake up the varnish or mix it up properly before I did it. I sprayed all the guns originally and they were far too shiny to match the rest of the ship. And there was no way knowing I could add it on there. I re-shook it all up, remixed it, put it back on there, and they're much, much flatter than what they were now. I don't know how, but they became very, very glossy. And I mean glossy. So then I took the rest of the pieces off, and I took these off, and the photo wedge stuck to the tape and it's taken it off. So these have been fighting me every single step of the way. I've had phone calls and other people come here today as well, but yeah, they just seem to be fighting me every inch. Just every little bit I do, I've had to re-glue one of these torrents, I think 3 times, and in the end I got super glue out and redid it. It's just, it hasn't gone as smooth as I would have liked, and even now I've still got to repair this. I will say though, I did use the Rebel glue on that photo etch with the plastic. I thought it would be strong enough. Maybe it's not. I do have some CA glue here anyway. Now I'll re-glue it with this. That's the little guns painted for on top of the turrets and put together. There's one of the tops on the cannons. And now there's the other one. There's a couple of the guns finished and a couple fitted. I'll continue going. And there's the other 2 guns on top. Okay, they're starting to come together. I just fitted the ladders to the side. And there's the other 2 with the ladders fitted on the side. Okay, there's the main guns all finished and glued down. And they're ready to go on. Well, there they are fitted at the front. And there they are fitting at the rear. And the ship is really starting to come together now. I'll just zoom out. So there's the overall ship. What's next? I thought I'd give you a bit of a running look so far, how it all is. It's kind of really coming together. I do have a few more little boats and bits and pieces to add on. I also knocked off 2 guns down the back, which is another reason why I left off that rear mast. Still got the cranes to add on, a little bit of rigging, but not a whole lot left. So I'll still crack on with this. I just thought I'd mention it, how I kind of came up with some of my colours for some of the things. Things like these, I don't know, I guess there's some sort of vent or something like that. Yes, it's grey on grey at the top, but the majority of it is the lighter colour, so I choose the opposite. Same with a lot of these guns and stuff. I'd already done a lot of the lighter grey right through most of these, so it only seemed fitting that You could see it for one. And two, that most of the stuff that I added on there was a different grey. It just, if it was already too much one colour, I just went another one. And it's pretty much coming together. It really is not bad. I mean, the plans state, even these little raft boats and stuff, that they should have a white roof. I didn't want a white roof because I didn't think it would really match in with the ship. So I just did a different version of it, and it is all kind of coming together. I've just fitted the small little fog light up the front there. These I brought up a little earlier. Yeah, they went on much better just by gluing them straight on top, waiting for them to go right off. And now it's, I dry fitted this piece as well, and it fits on really, really well. So you don't have to worry about forcing that piece down. So what I'm basically just going to do is I'm just going to glue it now and then fit it on. I've already fitted on one. Now I'll just fit the other. Well, there they are fitted. Those couple of pieces. Just need a bit of rigging up there. And I do need to finish off whatever's going on the side just here. Those last few bits and pieces. And that is about it. So I will crack on with those as well. I've just fitted all the spotlights and small ammunition up the top here. I'm still waiting for this one to dry, and I've just painted the piece in here. Well, actually I dipped it dipped it for this one here, and I think there's 3 pieces in here that are going to come off as well. Just fitted this. So most of those things that I painted last night, they're just about dry, and some of them are so tiny. The sprue bits and pieces on my desk are actually bigger. There's one down here that has to go on up the front, up the top of the ship. And it's just a whole bunch of tiny little pieces like this now. So I'll continue on this side, adding all those bits and pieces. Yeah, it's quite small. There we go. And there's those, well, there's that piece and another one fitted up the front there. There is one more piece to go on the nose there. I've just added a winch and kind of scuffed it up a bit, and same with the ammunition box here. I've just added that, and again I kind of just dipped it, and it was kind of a bit of a wishy-wash paint, which is, it sort of sits in well. Even though I am going for the new ship, some things would be used and slightly worn, and that's what I'm going with. It looks good with the rest of them. It's now time to add this, and there's that one added. So that's the 3 guns on up there. Pretty much everything in here is now finished except for this one piece just here. And there is a rail to go on this side over here, which I do believe is not painted yet, so I'll have to paint that black. I have a few other black parts to paint as well, so I'll get on with that. I just wanted to mention that every one of these pieces, whether it be a gun, an ammunition box, a light or a wheel or a winch, every single one of these takes a little bit of time. And the only way to really get through it is just take it one at a time. I mean, it may take you half an hour to put 4 locker boxes in, or ammunition boxes, but once they're in, they're in. You just do each one at a time, and it all just kind of comes together. It's a little time consuming, but I can see how some people would go, oh, I don't really need that, or don't want that, or it's too much. Just do one at a time, and if it does get too much, just walk away, have a coffee, have a drink, then come back, and that's pretty much what I'm doing. There's only really a couple items left on this side, and this side is completely finished. I know I do have to rig up for the crane, which I'm thinking about doing that this morning, and also putting the floors on the last few boats and gluing these down. So I did a tutorial a few episodes ago before I put the floor on exactly a few different types to put this stuff on. I mean, here we have a very, very fragile piece to go on this boat here, and as I stated in my tutorial, they're very hard to fit. I'm going to do exactly what I showed you, which is on things that are so fragile, put some glue down. But what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to peel the back off this and get it ready. I'll fit the glue, then fit that on. The glue will give me a few minutes buying time to work this out. Good thing about this kit is, even if you do mess it up, they actually give you 2 lots of everything. So, I mean, the plan is not to mess it up, but even if we do, we can still do it. But I'm trying to show you how not to mess it up. I had the hardest time getting these off. I probably just spent the last 5 minutes trying to get that corner off. Then I changed to this corner and I have lifted it. So I'll get it ready. So there's my piece ready. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to slightly flood all of the ship where all the timber floors are to go on. Now you don't have to do all of it. You just have to do some of it. Well, you can do all of it, I suppose, but you want to just do half. Alright, so I'm now going to grab that. Grab this one here. Go to fit it on. It's kind of stuck to my finger a little bit, which is not helping me. Take it off my finger. And now, this should just buy me a little bit of move time. And there we have it. It was off, and it gave me just enough room to move. I'll just move it just a little more, just to fit that. Yeah, and there we have it. You're not going to really see this one anyway, because this one is actually going on top of that one there, but it kind of looks nice. So there is the next one, put on exactly the same way, and you really will not mess up if you just really small fragile stuff. I find the glue just gives you that extra minute. So they're ready to go on. There's the next one done. There's a bit of timber on the nose of this one, and there's a smaller piece back here to go on the rear. And of course this is the last one that's to go on the other side of the ship. So these 3 will go on this side, so I will place them before I turn the ship around. I'm really limiting turning the ship around now, because every time I do it I tend to bump something or knock something, and it's just getting a little fragile. And there we had the last little boat put together. Just thought I'd mention that's also the last of the timber floor that we will see on this ship. It is now finished, the same as the photo etch. So that is another job knocked off. As I paint all my bits and pieces, I usually put them aside so I know exactly where they are. So I really try to limit losing them, especially some of these tiny pieces. So yeah, I mean, I use 2 boxes. I use a big one for the main parts, which has about 24 compartments in it, and they're quite big. And this is what I use for the tiny little stuff. And I've marked it here because these are almost identical, but they're not the same. So I just sort of marked out, you know, what page they are and where they are. And they're not with the other black stuff because, again, I didn't want to confuse them. So I will do the other black stuff, and then I'll do these and put them back in their correct compartment. I've just added the final piece up the top here. So all this top section is now finished except for this one piece here and the rail. For most of the video over the last couple of days, I've just sort of been doing and adding bits and pieces and bringing you in and showing you, and just, I'm sure you can see the ship coming up together. It's been rather difficult to add the clips because some of them are like 30 seconds, some of them are like 6 minutes, and they're all over the place. So I just kind of get enough clips together and pretty much make it an episode, which is where I am right now. I do believe I've probably got about 20 or 30 minutes worth, and by the time I edit that down, it'll probably be a good episode. So as much as I wanted to finish this ship here today, I can't. So I'm going to continue it on to the next one, which hopefully I can finish it, and then that'll just leave the planes at the end of it. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and it is moving along rather well, and obviously you know, it's nearly finished. It's so close to being, it's just about there. So anyway, I hope to see you on the next episode where I can probably finish this off. So I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.